there are souls. And a lot of souls. Some who are desperate to give.
Places of worship near me.
Some who are searching for the right answers to the toughest questions in life. Some who are struggling within and need someone to shepherd them.
Find a community near me.
And they aren't living at an interstellar distance from a church. The question is no longer about whether to embrace the new world of technology or not. The question is, how many souls get missed? Because the bridge that connects them to you has not been built. It is about creating a path, using the very latest in technology to help the ones searching for you. And in the pursuit, be the first to shepherd those minds and be found first.
So before we begin, and I know this is going to be a long video, but I'm asking you for something rare and valuable, your undivided attention for the next 20 odd minutes, because what I'm about to share has helped churches triple their visitor growth in under 6 months, and it could do the same for yours. So let's dive into the first section. Now, Pastor, before I show you the solution, I need to show you something that will fundamentally change how you think about reaching unchurched people, because the way someone discovers a church has already changed forever, and most churches haven't even noticed. Well, today, when someone decides they want to visit a church, maybe they just moved, and maybe they're going through a difficult season in life, or maybe their kid asked them to go to church. They don't drive around looking for a steeple, right? They reach for a device and they search. But here's what's changed. About 5 years ago, all three of these people would have gone to Google. Today, well, one goes to Google. One goes to Google but only reads the AI-generated summary at the top and never clicks a single link. And the third one skips Google entirely and asks ChatGPT or Perplexity for a direct answer. And here are the numbers. 60% of Google searches now end without anyone clicking on anything. 80 million people are asking ChatGPT questions every single week. That's not a trend on the horizon. That is actually the world we're living in right now. So here's the truth that keeps me up at night. Your church doesn't have one front door anymore. It has three. And right now, 2 of those doors are bolted shut. Every single day, people in your community are standing on the other side of those locked doors, searching for exactly what you offer and walking away because they can't get in. Now, before I show you how to unlock those doors, I need to be honest about something. And I say this with lots of love, because I have seen it at hundreds of churches across the country that I've talked to. Most church websites were built by a well-meaning designer or a really talented volunteer. And they look beautiful. They're gorgeous, right? Warm colors, friendly faces, maybe even a welcoming video at the top. But here's the problem. A beautiful website that nobody outside your church can find is like printing the world's most stunning brochure and locking it in a filing cabinet. So let's start with the front door most people know, and that's Google. When someone types churches near me into Google, how does Google decide who shows first? Good question. This is called SEO, Search Engine Optimization. You've probably heard of it. Don't worry about the jargon. I'm going to actually make this really simple. See, think of Google as the world's largest library. Billions of websites are like billions of books, and Google is the librarian. When someone walks in and says, I need a great church in Phoenix for my family, I live in Phoenix, the librarian has to decide which books to pull off the shelf. SEO is how you help that librarian find you. The librarian looks for 3 things. First, the title on the spine. On a website, this is your title tag. It's the blue headline Google shows in every search result. If it says home or welcome, the librarian had no idea what that book's about, right? But if it says Hope Church Phoenix, welcoming families with youth and children's ministry, now the library knows exactly where to file it. The second point is the summary on the back cover. This is your meta description. The paragraph under the title in a Google's result, right? When it's blank, Google is going to write one for you, usually pulling random text from your navigational menu. And good luck. That's like publishing a book and leaving the back cover empty. You don't want to do that. Third, the chapter headings inside the book. So on a website, these are the H1, H2, H3 tags. Your H1 is the book's main title, one per page, stating clearly what that page is about. H2s are chapter titles, and H3 are subsections. When they're organized well, Google can then skim your entire site and understand everything you offer in seconds, nanoseconds. Now, there's one more piece that's absolutely crucial, especially for churches, your Google business profile. This is your church's identity on Google Maps and in local search results. So it's your address, your service times, your photos, your reviews. This is often the very first thing someone sees before they even visit your website. And most churches have an incomplete profile with outdated hours or no photos and reviews that have never been responded to. Speaking of reviews, both Google and AI systems weigh review sentiment heavily when deciding who to recommend. That's important to understand. A church with 300 genuine reviews averaging 4.8 stars will be recommended over a church with 12 reviews from 4 years ago, every single time. This is traditional SEO. Your name, address, and your phone number, that's identical everywhere online. Your Google business profile, complete and active. Your title tags, meta descriptions, and headlines, clear and intentional. Think of it as getting your building up to code so the city will put you on the map. Without this foundation, nothing else works. Now, beneath what visitors see on your website, there's an invisible layer that matters just as much. Now, we call this technical SEO. Think of it this way. You can have the most beautiful church building in town, but if the parking lot has a bunch of potholes, the doors actually stick, and the lights flicker, people aren't coming back. And the building inspector, that would be Google, is going to mark you down. They're going to ask, is this site fast? If it takes more than 3 seconds to load on a phone, and remember, the vast majority of people are searching on their phones. Well, nearly half of them are going to leave before seeing even a single word on your homepage. They just won't stick around. Is it mobile friendly? Google now indexes the mobile version of every website first, not the desktop version. If your site looks great on a computer, but is difficult to navigate on a phone, you're already losing ground. And here's something most people have never heard of. It's called schema markup. Think of it as putting a machine-readable label on every room in your building. Instead of a door that simply says services, schema tells Google, catch this, this is a worship service, Sunday at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. at 1234 Main Street in Phoenix, led by Pastor Michael Chen. It's non-denominational. See, Google doesn't have to guess. It knows. When your technical foundation is solid, Google can crawl your site efficiently, understand your content clearly, and trust you are a reliable source. Without it, you're the building with the flickering lights. People might come in, but the inspector marked you down and they're not going to get recommended. Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. For about 20 years, SEO was mostly about keywords. You figured out what words people typed into Google and you made sure those exact words appeared on your website, which matched. That worked. But Google has evolved. It's into something way more sophisticated. Today, Google isn't just about matching words. It understands meaning. It understands context. It understands relationships between concepts. And this is called Semantic SEO. Semantic simply meaning related to meaning. Okay? Instead of just knowing that your website contains the word church, Google now understands that Hope Church, for example, is an organization, that it's led by a person named Pastor Michael Chen, that it offers a children's ministry called Kids Zone, serving ages 0 through 12, that it's located in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's currently running a community food drive, for example. This is called an entity. In Google's mind, your church is no longer just a page with words on it. It's a recognized thing with properties, relationships, and context. And here's the critical insight. The more clearly your website describes your church as an entity with specific, verifiable details, the more Google trusts you and recommends you. But there's a deeper layer still. It's not enough to have one well-written page, about your youth ministry. Google is evaluating whether your website covers a topic comprehensively. Think of it like a sermon series, right? One sermon about marriage is helpful, but if you actually preached a 6-week series on marriage, covering communication and conflict resolution and finances and parenting and spiritual growth, your congregation sees you as the authority on that subject, right? Google thinks the exact same way about your website. We call this topical authority. And the glue that holds it all together is internal linking. Each of those pages links to the other page in a logical web, telling Google these all belong together. We cover this topic completely. And a dedicated FAQ page with 30 well-structured questions and answers is often the single fastest way to build authority. Because FAQs are literally the structured ask, question, and answer pairs, the exact format that Google and AI are designed and recognized to cite. So semantic SEO is about making your website speak Google's language. Not just using the right words, but clearly describing who you are, what you offer, where you are, and why you're trustworthy. When you do this well, Google doesn't just list you in results, Google understands you deeply, and that deep understanding is what makes the difference between being found and being invisible. Now, everything I just shown you, traditional SEO, technical SEO, semantic SEO, all of that was the science of getting ranked in a list of 10 blue links on Google. And for 2 decades, that's the game every organization played. But here's what I need you to understand now. The list of 10 blue links is disappearing. When someone searches Google today, the first thing they see is Google's AI overview. You've probably seen it, I have. A paragraph written by artificial intelligence that answers the question directly. No clicking, no website visit needed. The answer is just there. And it goes far beyond Google. 800 million people every week are turning to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot, Claude. All these AI assistants that don't show a list at all. They give one answer, maybe 2 or 3 names. If your church is not in that answer, you simply do not exist to that person. And here's a number that should stop you in your tracks. Literally right now, AI bots are visiting your website more frequently than human visitors. They're crawling your pages constantly. And if they can't read your content clearly, they move on to the next church. Check this. A 6,900% increase in AI bot traffic has been documented in the last 2 years alone. Let that settle for a moment. The entire infrastructure of how human beings discover institutions, churches, hospitals, schools, businesses, is being rebuilt from the ground up. This is not an update. This is not a passing trend. This is the most fundamental shift in how people seek information since the invention of the search engine itself. And it's happening right now, while most churches are still optimizing for a world that literally no longer exists. Before I show you how to respond to the shift, I need to explain something that will make everything else click in place. I need to show you how these AI systems actually work. Because once you understand the machine, well, the entire strategy becomes really obvious. So an AI like ChatGPT was trained by reading essentially the entire internet, billions of web pages, books, Wikipedia, forum discussions. It absorbed all of it, not by memorizing facts, but by learning patterns. It learned which sources get cited most often. It learned which content is structured clearly. It learned which writing is specific, detailed, and trustworthy, and which is vague, generic, and unreliable. Now, when someone asks ChatGPT a question, the AI doesn't search the internet the way you search Google. It generates an answer word by word, predicting the most likely next word based on everything it has ever learned. And here's the profound part. When your church's website contains clear, structured, specific information, the AI has high confidence when generating a response that includes your church. It can predict with certainty. Hope Church in Phoenix offers a comprehensive elderly care ministry called Golden Years, serving over 120 seniors weekly. It learned that sentence pattern because your website made it easy to learn. But when your website says something vague like, "We love our seniors," the AI has nothing concrete to work with. It's low confidence. It moves on to the source where it can generate a more certain, more specific answer. That's why a church with clear, entity-rich, structured content gets cited, and a church with beautiful, vague content just simply gets skipped. It's not an opinion, it's mathematics. It's how the machine was built. Some of these AI systems also do something called retrieval. They go out to the live web in real time, reading current pages and pulling information back into the response. So your website isn't just part of the AI's historical training data. It's being actively read right now by AI systems deciding whether to recommend you or not. This is why everything I'm about to show you matters incredibly urgently right now. So now you understand the machine. The question becomes, okay, how do we make sure your church is the one it recommends? This is called GEO. GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. So if SEO, search engine optimization, was about getting Google to rank you in a list, GEO is about getting AI to quote you in an answer. Here's how it works in practice, okay? Someone types into ChatGPT, what's the best church in Phoenix with programs for elderly members? The AI activates. It scans its training data. It may reach out to the live web, and then it evaluates every potential source against a set of criteria. Is the content clearly structured with proper headings and schema? Is it specific and rich with like real names and real numbers and real programs and details? Can the AI extract a clean, quotable answer? 40 to 60 words that directly address the question. Is the source trustworthy with real reviews, credentials, and consistent information? Is the content fresh and recently updated? The sources that pass, they're the ones that get cited. The ones that don't get skipped. If your website says, "We care about seniors," the AI has nothing to work with. But if your website says, "Hope Church's Golden Years Ministry serves 120 seniors weekly with health screenings, transportation assistance, and a dedicated team of 23 volunteers," the AI quotes you directly because you gave it exactly what it needed: confidence. GEO is the science of making sure your church's story is quotable by machines. Structuring every page, every paragraph, every description, so precisely that when an AI is searching for the single best answer to give a seeking soul, your church is the one it chooses, not by luck, but by design. And the church that establishes this authority first in your city creates a compounding advantage, because once AI starts citing you, it reinforces the pattern. The more it cites you, the more it trusts you. The more it trusts you, the more it cites you. It's a flywheel that accelerates over time. and displacing the first mover becomes almost impossible. Now, at Missional Marketing, we've developed a scoring system for all this. We call it the 9-factor GEO Framework. Every piece of content gets scored against 9 factors before it goes live. Rather than walking through all 9 individually, let me show you the 3 clusters that matter most. Now, the first cluster is about trust. Citation authority means having your church's name, address, and phone identical everywhere online. An optimized Google Business Profile, genuine reviews, and local backlinks from community organizations. So there's a thing called EEAT signals. That's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Means showcasing your leadership's credentials, real ministry stories, and transparent contact information. Staff pages with real names and real photos. Freshness vector means regular updates. Weekly new content. Current event announcements. A website was last updated in 2022, looks abandoned to AI. These 3 factors together answer one question for the machine. Can I trust this source? The second cluster is about readability. Let me give you a real example. Quotability means structuring answers in 40 to 60 word blocks that AI can extract directly. Here's what that looks like. Instead of, we love kids and have amazing programs, you write instead, Hope Church's Kids Zone Children's Ministry serves children ages 0 through 12 during both Sunday services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Our team of 47 trained, background-checked volunteers leads age-specific curriculum in 6 dedicated classrooms. New families welcome without registration. Now, that's 48 words. Specific, authoritative, extractable. Entity density is what makes it work. Real names, real numbers, real details. And context window optimization means putting this answer at the top of the page because AI systems have limits on how much text they're going to process. The third cluster is about comprehension. So semantic coherence means one page, one clear topic, no mixed signals. Sentiment alignment means warm, welcoming language that AI prefers to surface. And multimodal signals means making sure that AI can process your images or your videos and your audio alongside all the text. Descriptive alt text on every image, transcripts for every sermon, captions on every video. 9 factors, 3 clusters, every piece of content scored. This is how you go from invisible to found first. Now, everything I've described, SEO, technical SEO, semantic SEO, GEO, and 9 factors, that's the science. But like me, you're not a web developer. You don't have time to learn about H1 tags and schema markup and context windows. What you need is a website that does all this for you. That's what we call an agentic website. Think of your current website as a brochure. It's sitting on a rack at a visitor center. Someone might pick it up, and if they happen to walk by. An agentic website is fundamentally different species altogether. It doesn't wait to be found. It reaches out. It doesn't just display information. It understands, responds, and acts. It works for your church 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even at 2 a.m. on Tuesday when a grieving widow is searching for comfort. And it's built from the ground up to speak the language that both human hearts and AI can understand. An agentic website has 3 AI power, super powerful features. I can't wait to explain these. But I don't want you to just think of them as 3 separate tools. They actually all work together. They're all interconnected. The first one is the People Also Ask engine. It monitors what people in your area are actually searching for. They go to Google and they go, what should I wear to church for the first time? Or do churches near me have childcare? Or best grief supports for groups in Phoenix. It finds these questions, filters them for relevance, and generates a clear answer using only your approved content. Those answers get published as structured FAQ content that AI is built to cite. This isn't just a feature. This is the content engine that feeds your entire GEO strategy. The second, the Caselet engines creates short, helpful blog posts that go deeper on those questions. So each one is a new page targeting a specific search query, building the topical authority I described earlier, the sermon series effect. And before generating a single word, it analyzes your leadership communication style across 60 parameters. The output sounds authentically like your voice, not generic AI content that carries your church's DNA. It's your answers. AMA, Ask Me Anything chatbot, is a 24/7 assistant on your website, answering questions in real time from your verified knowledge base only. No internet access, no hallucination, no theological errors, and every question visitors ask generates data that feeds directly back into the PAA, people also ask, and caselet engines. Here's where it all comes together. These aren't three separate tools. They're one self-reinforcing system. PAA discovers questions. Caselets create content. And then Ask Me Anything engages visitors. Visitors' interactions reveal new questions. Those feed back into the PAA cycle. That cycle repeats faster, smarter, deeper with every rotation. Each cycle builds more authority, more quotable content, and better yet, more AI citations. And when someone arrives through an AI recommendation, a clear path guides them from discovery to walking through your doors on Sunday. It's not a website. It's a self-reinforcing system that makes your church more discoverable every single day it's running. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is AI. What if it says something theologically incorrect? What if it publishes something about a sensitive topic that we'd never approve? That's why we built a SPOC, SPOC system. That stands for Single Point of Contact. In some cases, that might be a communication director. The principle is absolute. Nothing goes live without human approval. Zero autonomous publishing. Every piece of content passes through 5 safety layers, and your designated person reviews, edits, or rejects everything before it goes anywhere. AI assists, but humans decide. Always. I want to leave you with something I believe with every fiber of my being. The window to establishing AI citation authority is open right now. And like every window of opportunity, it's not going to stay open forever. AI systems are learning right now which sources to trust. The churches that build this authority today will be the default recommendation for years to come. And this isn't marketing. This is missional. This is the Great Commission meeting the greatest technological shift in our lifetime. Every person AI doesn't recommend to your church, it's a lost click. It's a potential lost soul. The single mother who drove past because the machine didn't know you existed. The teenager who asked for help and your church wasn't in the answer. The couple who wanted to give a tithe and the AI machine sent them somewhere else. This is happening in your city every single day. An Agentic website is not about technology. It's about stewardship. Being a faithful steward of the mission God gave you by ensuring that when someone cries out for hope, through the tools of this generation, your church is the answer they receive. So pastor, let's build something that lasts. Let's make sure that when the world searches for hope with a lowercase h or a capital one, they find you. Let's make sure they find Hope Church. Let's begin today.
Another night. Another scream, a quiet voice asked what I mean. I speak it soft into the air. Find me somewhere, somewhere they care. Found first in the noise, found first, finally see. Hope was the name, hope was the light. Found first where I belong. Found first.